Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and while you're at it, click the bell to be notified of future videos. This block is called Plaited, and it's 12-inch finished. Now, I always thought that that word was pronounced platted, but I looked it up and they pronounced it plated. So that's what I'll call it, plated. Here's the diagram, and here are 4 blocks set block to block. This is a 3x3 grid, and it's an irregular grid, which means not all of the units in each grid space are the same size. If you look here, these corner units are bigger than these side units and the center unit. So they're bigger in the corners and narrower in the sides and the center. That's irregular grid. Before we look at the patches, AccuQuilt has a block on board die set for a plated block, for this actual block, and it's the same size, it's 12-inch finished. So if you have that or you want that, that's what this will do. If you don't have that, you can use these AccuQuilt dies that are listed here with each of the patches. Patch A is a 3-inch finished square. We cut 3.5-inch squares. We need 5 patches for the background, and this is in the side units and the center unit. Patch B is a 1.5-inch finished square. We cut 2-inch squares. We'll need 12 patches for the background and 4 patches each of the light and the dark fabric. And these patches all go in the corner units, all the B patches. The C patch is a 1.5-inch finished half square triangle. We cut 2 3/8-inch squares and cut them in half once diagonally for 2 patches. We are going to use the 2 at a time method to make half square triangles, and we're going to cut the patches a little bit bigger and trim them down later. So we'll cut the patches at 2.5 inches. We need 8 patches for the background and 4 patches each of the light and the dark fabric. D patch is a 1.5-inch by 3-inch finished rectangle. We cut 3.5-inch by 2-inch rectangles, and we'll need 4 patches for each of the dark and the light fabrics. So as I mentioned before, we're going to use the half square triangles 2 at a time to make the half square triangles, and we're going to cut them slightly larger and trim them later. And for the AccuQuilt, we use a true 1/4-inch seam. Here's the information for the plated block on board die if you're interested in that. There'll also be a link in the description. Here are the cutting instructions, and we won't go over those. So on page 2, we have the piecing instructions. Here are my background fabrics, my light fabrics, and my dark fabrics. First, we'll take 2 each of these light and dark B units, and then we'll take 4 of the background B units. I didn't press these. And we're going to make these 4 units. So sew these together, then press the seams. For step 2, we'll make the half square triangles. We take the 2.5-inch C patches. On the back of the background fabric, we draw a diagonal line, and we place it right sides together, the accent fabrics, and we're going to stitch a scant 1/4 inch on both sides of this line. I have a little metal guide on my presser foot that gives me a 1/4 inch. So if I wanted a 1/4 inch, I would put the guide right along this line. But I want a scant 1/4 inch, so I'm going to put the guide just to the right of this line. Then flip this around and do the same thing on this side. Put your guide just to the right of the line and stitch another row of stitching. And you'll do that a total of 4 times with these pieces. After the stitching is done, we're going to cut them in half along the diagonal line. And then we have our half square triangle. But we need to trim these down because we cut them slightly larger. You have 2 choices. You can trim them first and then press them, or you can press them and trim them. I'm going to use my folded corner clipper ruler to trim these down. So we need to trim these to 2 inches. It's still folded. I haven't opened it up yet. So I'll put the 2-inch mark along the bottom of the triangle, and this diagonal line is right on top of the stitching. And I'm going to trim this and this. So I'm cutting off the nub and I'm trimming down the sides. If you want to, you can flip this over and then cut this nub off. Line it up the same way, the 2-inch mark here at the bottom, and the horizontal line goes right above the stitching, and then trim off this nub. So then when you open it up, you can press it and you don't have your nubs to cut off. The other way is I've already pressed this one, and we're going to use a regular ruler to square this up to 2 inches. And what I do is put my diagonal line right along the seam line. Then I start checking all 4 sides of this unit. Over here, I want to make sure there's enough fabric past the 2-inch mark that I can trim off. So that would be here and here. And there's plenty of room. I'm going to move it just a little bit. There's plenty of room to trim off there. And I see here I've got plenty of room to trim off here. So once I'm happy with all 4 sides, I'll trim. Oops. Okay, then flip this around. And then now you can line up the 2-inch mark on the edge here and here, and then line up your diagonal line. And you have your 2-inch unfinished half square triangle. So do that to all of your half square triangles. In step 3, we're going to use 2 of each fabric's D units and 2 of each fabric's half square triangles and piece this unit. We'll make 2 like this and 2 like this. For step 4, we'll take the remaining D patches and 4 A patches, and we'll stitch the 1 D patch to the bottom of each A patch like this. Press your seams open and you'll have 2 of each. Now we're still working on these corner units. For step 5, we're going to take the remaining half square triangles and the B patches and make some more units. We'll put these units will be put together like this. And we'll make 2 of these and 2 of these. Now we are finally ready to put the corner units together. So let's see, let's do one first. All right, that is 1, and we'll make 2 like this. Let's move this out of the way. The other one, okay, I finally got them. This is very confusing. So just look at the pictures and do one at a time. So this is one of them, and this is another. So we'll make 2 of these and 2 of these, and just keep looking at the picture before you sew anything. We have finally finished our corner units, and these corner units are 2 different kinds. Normally all the corner units are the same. Now we're just going to put the block together. So let's start in the center, and then look at your diagram on the front page right here, and just follow the diagram and check it to make sure you've got it right. I think I have it right. So now you just double check it before you sew it. Let's just look. All right. Now you're going to sew the top units together, the middle units, and the bottom unit. Press the seams and then sew the rows together. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and while you're at it, click the bell to be notified of future videos.